What's up, everyone? This is Saiyan 91 back once again for some more Let's Play Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. In the last part, we talked with Officer Meekins, and we got quite a lot done in the trial, but we gotta continue the trial because we had to get ready for the Jake Marshall. So let's get back into it, shall we? Here we are on our own against Mr. Edgeworth. Edmund didn't come back. Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge of the guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. Witness, please state your name and occupation and quit drinking your booze in this room. I'm just a man same as you, wandering the trails of civilization. Usually helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. No, you're a patrolman. That's from my name. If you listen hard enough, you can hear the wind howling it out. The exact is Jake Marshall. Howling wind? I never heard Edgeworth described that way before. Let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. This is correct. According to the papers. What do you mean? This broad soul is boundless as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up. Maybe it's best we get on with this. Please share with us your testimony on the day of the crime. In English. The day of the crime. My job was to keep a wary eye on the bone orchard. Say I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but it ain't my style. Besides, this room is protected by 2 security systems. If I remember right, I was at the street side saloon when that went down. Just an innocent traveling man. If you're at how much time I hit the trail. Can't say I particularly care for your attitude. Can't say I particularly care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems? I mean the security system cameras and the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those. Oh yes, well, about the fingerprint activated locks inside the room. Activated locks? What kind of thing will do keys of those? It's not helpful. Not good with machines or following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses. This one seems like trouble. Oh, he's all yours. Thanks. Day of the crime. Pressing time. How exactly did you keep an eye on the evidence room? I just make sure nothing moves in the security camera monitor. That room's so still. Even time dies in there. You entered them? Videos of nothing aren't that useful. When the time will come, I'd erase the tape. Nothing is required. Tapes are to be erased every 6 hours. Each time I erased the tape, it felt like I was erasing a part of my life. This guy has a flair for the dramatic. So in actuality, you didn't actually enter the evidence room. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but it ain't my style. But you made your rounds on the day of the crime, right? You heard a word I said? I told you that ain't my style. I'm afraid I don't understand. No, this bro lets rule get in his way. This bro, as I know, joined the police force. On the day of the crime, just between you and me, I didn't set foot in the evidence room that day. There was a rubber glove stuck in the victim's locker. Do you know anything about that? Sorry, can't say I do. Been in that crypt for weeks. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems. You used to be a detective, so you used the evidence room in the past, right? Of course. Back in the day, my locker was a gold mine of evidence. And yet, you didn't know about the fingerprint logging mechanism? Sorry, I ain't good with machines. I can't tell you how a bike works. That's quite incredible. Sensors on the locker cannot be seen. Nice. Now that you mention it, Detective Gumshoe said something like that too. Anyway, it doesn't seem that this is relevant to the crime. Tell us what you were doing when the crime took place. If I remember right, I was at a street side saloon at the time it went down. What are you doing in a place like that? I was eating spaghetti. Maybe an angel's steak lunches could beat that parlor's pasta. You mean to tell us you abandoned your police duties to eat some noodles? Well, this rouse eat tacos. It's not what I meant. Hope this taught you a lesson. Strange. This is usually where intro says, "Did you not want to read it this year?" I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, I'm gonna hit the trail. Out of ammo? Officer Marshal? That's right. Or as you'd call it, evidence. If you plan to pin me to this crime, then you'd better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. The steel horse is ready to carry me back west to the sunset. One thing seems clear. Despite being responsible for guarding the room, the witness doesn't appear to have seen anything. I don't take orders from anyone knows that. But these superiors don't. Okay, I have a trump card on my sleeve, but I better keep my cool. Or use I better up the ante. Okay, let's figure out. Excuse. The time it went down. I'm gonna look at this just for a sec. Okay. I'm gonna present it right here. So, Marshal, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called in to testify like this? After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. To be exact, a handprint. So in other words, we're blaming him to be the man in the white coat. I'm the caretaker of that crypt. In my respects, that is. As I make my rounds at least once a month. It's natural my fingerprints would be in there. I only wish it were. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. What's the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the scene of the crime? Blood was wiped away, however. Luminol testing clearly revealed this. Well, seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders. I take it you have an explanation, Officer Marshal, about the bloodstained fingerprints. You may begin your testimony about your fingerprints found at the scene of the crime. Bloodstained fingerprints. Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in the evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the time in the same place as the bloodstained handprint. Where it touched his locker where my fingerprint was by chance. Bloodstain and the fingerprint were completely unrelated. I didn't know the murderer was wearing gloves. See? I had nothing to do with it. This explanation appears valid. So there's room for doubt. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt. The defense may now cross-examine. This guy is hiding something. I can feel it. Not my chance to prove it. By pressing everything he says. That's because you, how did you put, pay your respects once a month? Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What? What do you mean? I mean what I said. The locker I used when I was a detective is the locker I still use. It's all in there. It's all people. heap of broken dreams. I see. Strange my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently his fingerprint data was never changed. Must have been using the fingerprint lock without knowing it. Update it! Press everything! So then, what about the bloody handprint? Doesn't mind, there's no mystery. Please explain. Discover what my fingerprints. It so happened. The murderer touched the locker, my fingerprints were by chance. Chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1. On the contrary, one would argue just the opposite. Chances of that not happening are 1,000,000 to 1. You get one thing straight. We get no reward from me with a mere fingerprint. You want to know why? Blood stain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Unrelated? They're as different as night and day. Kind of like cereal and cereal. So I do breakfast when the other one's a type of murder. That's right. Though they're seemingly alike, they're totally different. Let's see why holograms have to do with this. Didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? How do you know that? Maybe a lunar, but I still do my job. I keep on the reports. There was blood stain on the scene, though thought to be left by the murderer. That's right. It's found in Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on the handprint. But yeah, I think we tried that. So that would mean the murderer wearing gloves happened to place his hand on top of Marshall's fingerprint. It's the only logical conclusion. Are you starting to get the picture? Picture? Seal of blood? The desert is just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this. The security tape. As long as my trail isn't in there, I can't say otherwise. Isn't getting us anywhere. Please consider what you're doing, where you're going with this cross-examination. Yes. Now then, continue your testimony. Too bad it wasn't me in the video. What do you mean by that? Want me to tie this shit? You know, tie me to this crack, isn't that right? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have. But that video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots. Blind spots? Places you can't see. The camera is panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone is familiar with the camera's position, you can leave the room without being caught on tape. You don't have time for your speculations. Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence in the room that indicates Officer Marshall was present, do so now. I'd say we have pretty good evidence. Allow me to point out your mistake, Marshall. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up being the one making the mistake. Now then, let's have another look at the video. Show us this incriminating evidence of the witness, Officer Jake Marshall. Well, it's obviously very simple. I'm just going to go back to the beginning right here. Keep your eye on the locker on the far left, the top one. That's Jake Marshall's locker, right there. Now fast forward. Nothing. Nothing. Still nothing. Still nothing. And what is that over there? It is that piece of cloth. Bring our attention back to the security camera. It is a mistake I'm afraid you'll not soon forget. Days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. You sum that up in what we had to say 8 words or less? You do the same very well. It can clearly be seen in the video. Exactly 8 words. Not bad. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. Yours, to be exact. See this locker? Shouldn't that be Phoenix's name up there? Now then, let's rewind the video back a bit. Meekins is pretty much beaten down, and there is no cloth. It's gone. What's the meaning of this, Marshal? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshal, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. It's more, you opened your locker when the security was turned away. The camera, excuse me. Hold your horses, sorry. But you got the wrong man. So if my locker was opened, it doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened the locker and stuck it in. It might fully help him to choose mine. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? Because you're an idiot. The guy playing dumb. He really doesn't know. I hate to rain your parade, but you're the only person who can open that locker. Oh yeah? I call your bluff. Has he opened the locker? Now prove it. Well, it's the locker itself. A fingerprint sensor? We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can be only opened by the detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. In any case, the locks can't be opened except by flashback. So, Sheriff, what did you have to say in 8 words or less? I only got one more for you, partner. No! Jesus. Calm down, dude. Witness, explain yourself. This is a joke. It's the worst I've ever heard. Sure, this is no joke. Please tell us what you're doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Olay, please answer the question. Now a bullfighter? It's alright, Officer Marshal. I believe we can figure out the rest from here. Again? Look at these floor plans. No place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Meekins didn't see Officer Marshal. So, where was the witness? Means Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right. Only possible conclusion. Well, let's hear it. Where was Officer Marshal at the time of the crime? Well, wouldn't he have to be? So Marshall was standing right here. Then that's where the victim, Goodman, was. Correct, unless the man wasn't Goodman. I believe the victim in the video was Marshall. It was you dressed up like Goodman. But you're gonna ask why? It's preposterous. Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. He saw the man's face. He knows for sure. But he said he didn't see it. He testified the reaction when confronted. I entered the evidence room, I saw a flashback. The detective responded and pulled a knife on him. Something about the officer's story puzzled me. The man had his ID card, why wouldn't he just show it? Yes, he wouldn't need to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. The answer is simple. He couldn't show it, because he didn't have it. I get it. If he showed it, his cover would have been blown. McKean would have realized the man wasn't Goodman. You have anything to say about this, Marshal? Or chewing on your neckerchief that looks like beef jerky? Yeah, a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it. Do better than that to break a detective. can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. Oh, come on, you just recycled that. Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence? Any evidence beyond a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up like the victim? Well, who am I kidding? I don't. I see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems like you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. This keep me happening. So obvious he's the one. What can I do? It looks like your lack of experience is finally exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. Run into a wall, no place to go, return to the basics. The basics? Uh-huh. Me, that would be what Maya used to tell me. Mia, excuse me. Think outside the Bex. Rather, I should look for evidence that came out because he was in disguise. Why would you think this locker was opened in the first place? Me. There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance he might have been discovered as it has been. It means he didn't originally plan to open the locker. According to the defense's argument, Jake Marshall dressed up like Goodman at the time of the crime. And after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. The fact there is a white cloth sticking out the locker indicates that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So what exactly is the piece of cloth? Perhaps the tape is the key to an unanswered questions. So the tape is the only shot. Marshall does not look pleased. Me and the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why the witness had to open his locker. Well, let's rewind to somewhere close. It has to be around here. So, it has to be before. Oh, damn it. Now it has rewind the entire time. So why would the white cloth be... Why would the white cloth have to be put away? Well, look at it right there. It's stained, isn't it? So, let's present that. For some reason you disguise yourself as Goodman. Enter the evidence room. I don't know what the reason was yet. However, something unexpected happened. You encountered Meekins. Barged in on you. Asked him to show your ID, you pulled a knife on him. However, Sir Meekins panicked. The white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. A bloody white coat. So you couldn't just walk around like that. So you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, huh, partner? Nice. Now then, Officer Marshall. Are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Edgeworth. 2 years ago, you were only half as persistent as you are today. We all wouldn't have to be here now, would we? Officer Marshall, tell us the court what you did. All of it. Alright. Seems the time has come. Marshall's confession. I had to do it on that day. I couldn't just stand and let him die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Meekins. I knocked him out. I managed to escape. I knew what areas couldn't be caught on the camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. Alright. So the supposed victim was really you. But there's one thing I still don't understand. Large quantities of blood traces were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Mr. Meekins managed to cut his own hand. I guess he's the donor. So, The blood is really Meekin's.